welcome to another episode of New World Norm Insights. As you know, I'm Tim Moore, Global Director of New World Norm, and today we are going to have a great guest. We're going to talk about one of the most important strategic topics around, in my opinion, and that's around inventory management. Happens to be that I have with me a guest, David Erasmus. Yes, he is absolutely the person to speak to about inventory. He's been around since 1995 and worked in South Africa and Dubai. I must admit, I first met Dave when we were discussing my favourite topic, inventory management. And I realised quite quickly to speak to him that not only expert in the field of inventory management, but also he had a loss prevention background. And this combined, I think this actually sets him aside in the marketplace at the moment. So here we are talking all things inventory management. Now, as a matter of fact, Dave, you're going to need to keep me actually on track today because this is a strategic topic I have been championing for 15 years. So over to you. What do you think about joining the show?
Well, thank you, Tim, for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak to a legend such as yourself in the loss prevention retail world. So thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. And talking about inventory management, what a great topic. It certainly puts a lot of people to bed, but I think it keeps a lot of people up, actually, more and more in the retail world, because it's an ongoing challenge and one that hasn't got an easy solution. So that's an interesting field to be involved in.
Share exactly the same views as you. So look, I'm sure the audience now are going, okay, so let's know a little bit about you. And so it'd be good to hear from you about your career path and sort of how you today become to work for DataScan as a regional director.
Life takes you on a strange journey sometimes, Tim. I grew up wanting to be an artist. For my sins, I landed up in law enforcement and started my career out in police and gravitated towards an investigation unit looking after or investigating syndicate vehicle theft. I sort of fell into casino security, first of all, physical security, and then into surveillance and compliance, which is a really interesting area where your inventory is cash. It really brings it home, the importance of inventory. And then from there, I had the opportunity to go out to the Middle East. I spent over a decade in the Middle East working for one of the bigger family-owned sort of conglomerates that had various segments, really, retail being one of those. That's where I sort of got into retail loss prevention and spent many years trying to understand our inventory, really, and came to the conclusion that we were just chasing our tails forever because the inventory counts were incorrect. I then went out and started a company that provided inventory stock counting services. And then after that, I moved across the UK, where I was fortunate enough to join the DataScan family and been with them for the last 5 years, looking after the EMEA region and growing the brand and supporting our customers out here. So,
brilliant. What an exciting career path. And not one for now, but I would certainly like to know more about those casino days. You got some great stories there. So, hey, I think let's get right into it. Let's delve right in, right? Which is, with your superior knowledge, what do you say is the current risk from inaccurate inventory for retailers at this moment in time?
Well, inaccurate inventory has always sort of posed the risk or increased the risk of loss. Loss of product, loss of sales, increasing in vendor fraud. If you've got no handle on your inventory, trying to find where it's going missing is a really difficult solution or a difficult situation that you're faced with. I think historically, retailers always accepted that, just a pure nature of retailing, that there would be inaccurate records and that the risk of loss would be there. However, as omnichannel has grown in significance, I think those risks have compounded. I think there's a lot more risk in a very complex environment where you've got inventory flowing in sort of all directions. You've got inventory that's being ordered online, fulfilled out of stores, fulfilled out of warehouses, getting returned back to stores. So not having proper visibility of inventory really compounds all of the risks that always were there. But I think in the omni-channel world, the biggest risk nowadays is the inability to fulfill an online order. And with that comes the potential risk of losing a customer, and not only for that sale, potentially for life. Customers, I won't say, are looking for orders to be fulfilled quickly, seamlessly. Inaccurate inventory prevents all of that. So I would say in today's retailing environment, that is probably the biggest risk retailers will face, to be honest.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I mean, if I go back a while in my career and being with global businesses, the accuracy plays a significant part. And actually, I think you probably agree that actually inventory wasn't necessarily a sexy topic. Now it's become a little bit more sexy on the basis of the impact to a business, the consumer, overstocking, understocking. It's now become such a big thing. So that kind of leads me on to my next question, really, which is, I interact with a lot of retailers and that have inaccurate problems with their inventory. So, what do you do with your client with DataScan to fix these problems?
I think, to understand the nature of the problem, one really needs to understand that the only way to fix inventory records is to conduct an inventory count and true up your inventory records. Now, historically, client or retailers would look to do that once or twice annually. It's not a great activity. It's hugely disruptive. It's manually intensive. It's frustrating. Trying to go through that process and get your records trued up. However, in an omni-channel world, you've got to maintain your inventory record accuracy at a certain level to support those online transactions. And that has sort of driven retailers towards counting more frequently and looking at different ways of counting. Now, what we actually do is we provide solutions that enable that and allow your staff, which we would fundamentally believe are your greatest asset and who have a vested interest in understanding and making sure that inventory accuracy is true. We make it easy for them to count stock and then also do it more frequently and in new and innovative ways so that the inventory accuracy can be maintained over a longer period instead of having these once or twice off activities where you true up your inventory record accuracy and then you get a decline in accuracy as time progresses. So essentially that is what we do. DataScan operates in two different worlds. I say two different worlds. We historically come from a very barcode background, and now we are also in RFID. So it's looking at where the client is, what is their current organizational maturity in terms of stock management, and where we need to be providing them a solution and how we can migrate them and future-proof their inventory management and migrate them into an RFID world.
Brilliant. Hey, one of the things actually I listened to is you said it, and that was you make it easy. I think, I think from talking to you from off air in terms of your, agile model, I would say definitely would make it easy for customers. And I know from my own experience that actually inventory management sometimes can be inaccurate because they make it difficult. So the fact that you're coming in and making it easier for clients, I think is a win-win for clients. But look, for those listening and kind of resonating and going, hey, that sounds like me, that sounds like my business. Yeah, okay. I reckon, with your knowledge, you probably have said, what recommendation would you make as a first step towards making their inventory as accurate as possible?
I think partner selection is key to, it's crucial to find a partner that has got a demonstrable, proven track record in working with clients to solve their problems. I think in the world of inventory management, you've got many out there that over promises and under delivers, and when it comes to the support that is required, some of these companies are no longer there. So, having done a couple of RFID implementations during my time, this is one of my biggest learnings: is know that the customer has got that the service provider has got, first of all, longevity. Secondly, the organizational capability, and to be able to support you over whatever region you're operating. If you are a global retailer, and do they support global retailers? Have they done so for some time? And have they got the capability to provide you ongoing support when things go wrong? Inventory is never smooth sailing. You will always have challenges, and you will always need support. And very often that support dries up after the sale is done. So I think partner selection is one of the key things. And then further to that is agility. Are they able to pivot when things go wrong? Or is it a one-size-fits-all solution, and anything that happens outside of that doesn't fit the narratives? Which I would say that would be the second thing. And then the third is the technology easy to use? Because some of this technology, store associates don't want to be faffing around trying to understand and learn new technologies all the time. Is it easy to use, and does it provide the result that it promises to offer? And sometimes, the proof is in the pudding. We would always recommend doing a proof of concept. There's a lot that goes into that, and planning and understanding exactly what the use case is and what it is that you're trying to get out of the technology. How do you measure your... But yeah, first step, partner selection. Second, ease of use, flexibility. And yeah, I think those are some of the key attributes that you would be looking for in a partner.
Yeah. I knew I'd have a refreshing discussion with you from speaking to you before. And you're right. I think, one of the things that I've learned from being in a global business across like 31 countries is your vendor selection, your partner selection is crucial. And I think as well, and it's refreshing to hear this from you because you recognize this, is that, don't overpromise and underdeliver. Everybody wants a bit of business, and I really, really appreciate that. But I think sometimes we're sold the dream that they have the fix and the solution, only to find out later that we don't, and it causes more pain points, us back into the business, and also a disruption. So I think that's a really well said on your part. So, I mean, if you think about things that I do outside of the business, I sit in lots of forums, and also I read lots of commission reports on the future of RFID. And as an expert, I'd welcome your point of view on how you see the future of RFID. Where is it going? How will it benefit future businesses?
So I think, I've always been a huge advocate of RFID because it promises to give you that, or allows you to maintain inventory accuracy over a longer period. It also gives you visibility across the supply chain. So from a loss prevention point of view, and as far as use cases go, the loss prevention probably isn't the highest one. It's all about operational excellence and execution. But as a loss prevention practitioner, I just love RFID because of the visibility it gives. One, allows you to pinpoint where the areas are that you're possibly losing inventory. Now, I think RFID is certainly the future. There's no doubt about it. I think, it's been around for many years. It's had some limitations, especially in terms of the tagging. When you're relating to metals, relating to liquids. However, I think the RFID tagging technology has improved rapidly over the last couple of years, and it's certainly becoming a technology that is of interest in more and more segments. Rather, historically it was worked really well in the fashion and apparel sort of industry, and other retailing segments didn't really get to see the benefit because of some of those tagging limitations. However, that is changing. So I do think we'll see more and more retailers deploying RFID. I think one of the key things, to consider with RFID is that there's a lot that goes into it. There is an absolute, once you deploy this technology, you can't just pivot and change back to where you were. Once you bought into it, you've got to make it work. So there's a lot of work that really needs to go in to understanding the technology, your use case, securing, your executive level buying, understanding what the ROI is, what are the KPIs you're going to be measuring that with. So, I'm would describe myself more as a loss prevention practitioner or than a salesperson. I'm having been on the other side of the fence and listened to some of the benefits being oversold. I would never ever venture down that road because it's not an easy technology to implement, and I would be very cautious if you're sitting across the table from a service provider or a technology provider that is telling you it's an easy fix. It's a quick fix. We can deploy this without any problems. I don't think it is that technology. I think it's a journey, and it's a longer journey than many initially hope for. I think, and it certainly is the future. It's absolutely the future.
Thank you for those. And specifically, when I pick up on the word you said, operational excellence, because I really want to get away from the industry thinking this is a security product. RFID is much wider use.
Security not.
Operational excellence is something that I really brought into the culture of loss of engine in the previous businesses, because the solutions are much wider than just secure the product. That's one thing it does. But ideally, with the other things it does, there's a lot of add-on value. I think as well, and again, so many times I've had a pitch say to me, this is easy, we can do this. We can do this in 16 weeks, and we all know that that's an impossibility. But I think, again, it's refreshing to hear a vendor partner saying this is a journey. And I think that is why I think we could get confidence in the product and also in the service. When you got a product which works, and you got a service like yourself where you're trying to say, I'm trying to give you the best route forward, and don't just sprint job, take our time with this. So
yeah, you will inevitably trip yourself up, and along with you the whole organization when that happens, Tim. So slow and steady is definitely the mantra when it comes to RFID. Do the homework, and you certainly reap the benefits, but it's not a technology to rush into. Absolutely not.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Dave says, take it steady, do your homework, and I couldn't agree more. So I just want to thank you, Dave. It's been great having your point of view, as these problems just do not seem to be going away. And with the advances in AI, if any company wants to use it in the future, they just need to get the imagery accurate. They can't just try to use AI without getting the imagery accurate in the first place. The deployment will actually be more damaging. I said to everybody, just get ahead, get your imagery accurate, and then the AI will help. So thank you to that have joined us. It's always great to share industry insights that helps improvement to my LinkedIn community. And until next time, everyone, stay well and take care.
You too.